let's move on. We're doing another story on Shitfaced Shitfics, and this one I'm so excited about. Like, let me give you a little background. The Barcast fucking loves Gordon Ramsay. Now, back me up here, guys.
Oh yes,
We
actually all attended. Like we went to his Hell's Kitchen establishment in Vegas. Like it was a whole thing.
We fucking love Gordon Ramsay. Like we love. And so of course we had to do a story about Gordon Ramsay, and this one's a little long, but it's something we are doing, and it's called It's Nyah. And I'm surprised Flam isn't dying a little inside right now.
It's Nyah.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Is this gonna be Uwoo's?
This is 100% Uwoo, and I will be narrating this. Gordon Ramsay will be played by Flammenwerfer.
Yeah.
The Neko, the Uwoo, the main character, will be played by Priest.
Ooh, what's this?
Oh God.
Can I just call attention to the tags on this story?
Yeah, go ahead and read the tags out loud.
First one, Buff Shaggy.
Read the other ones.
We have Chef, okay. Cooking, of course. Fan fiction, duh. Female, I would hope. Gordon, I would hope. Gordon Ramsay, indeed. Lamb sauce. Neko, yes. Ramsay. The reader, romance, sauce, and ex-reader.
So the concept of this is you are a neko. If you don't know what a neko is, do a real quick search. It's not hard. You are a neko. You work at a cafe. Suddenly Gordon Ramsay. This is a romance. And anytime, by the way, guys, anytime it says YN, it means your name. So we have to, as a group, right now, pick a name for our character.
Anon.
No. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to let the chat decide. Chat, post the name you want our main character to be known by, and I'll pick one real quick. Ready, go. Just pick some. Go for it.
Scrody McBooger Balls.
Keep going.
Beyblade.
No, we're doing Beyblade. Our name is Beyblade. Our name is
I'm just getting a letter rip.
Our name is Beyblade.
I hope Ramsay's into fart stuff because we're gonna let it rip.
All right, so Priest will be playing Beyblade. Enigma will be playing Friend and other various main characters as they pop up. That means, Enigma, you have to pay attention. Okay? Enigma?
What? I was paying attention.
I will fucking kill you. Other characters, including a butler, will be played by Rav.
Yes.
Yes, and any servants or household staff, Rav, you're them. Okay?
Okay.
And Ray will be played by Milk.
I still have no idea who Ray is.
I don't know either. And we're gonna launch into this story, and it's got a little bit of Lolso random in it too, except it's a Neko. So like, just batten down the hatches. All right, everybody have the story open?
I do.
Yep.
All right, you guys ready for this shit?
No.
All right, here we go. It's Nyah. Gordon Ramsay ex Neko reader. By daddymuffin. Is ongoing. Last updated on March 31st. You're a cute little Neko who works in a cat cafe in London, when suddenly Gordon Ramsay appears. He likes what you've got and makes you his new student. Will you become the next big thing in the chef industry? And will your relationship with Gordon blossom into something more? Honk honk. Written by me and my BFFFL. Don't know what it stands for. I don't keep up with these LGBT
Best
things.
friend for life.
Best fuck friend for life. Get it right.
All right. Reader's point of view, Uwu. Chapter 1, Meeting Your Idol. It was Tell you what, actually, Milk, anytime there's an ooh, do you just want to yell ooh afterwards? Well, he has to say ooh too, but I'm saying, like, in the narration, do you want to yell ooh? We're going to get lots of pre-ooh.
Okay, I will say ooh every time there's an ooh.
Okay.
Ooh!
It was a quiet Sunday afternoon, and I was just a couple of hours into my shift at the Cat Cafe. I looked at my surroundings as I was washing up some dishes I had used earlier to cook. The walls were painted with cartoony silhouettes of felines, and the window outlooking the dining area gave me a good view of the cats. I'd been working at the Cafe Felidae for about 4 months now, so I knew all the cats' names. There was Marie, the autistic tabby, Yummy Kitty, the fluffy ragdoll, Tilly, the fussy tortoiseshell, and Stalin, the stubborn oriental. And Russell, I don't know. I don't like Russell. He called me a smelly.
First paragraph in. All right, we're getting it.
I got the job to pay for my tuition. It was pretty easy for me to get hired since the cats naturally liked me because I'm part cat. And if you're going to work with cats, it would be best if they liked you. Plus, I also brought in my signature brownies, and they were a big hit. They're usually on the they're actually on the menu now. I giggled as I watched Marie fall over trying to look up at one of the waitresses until I heard the door chime open. I turned back to my washing up and cleaned my last 2 plates, half-heartedly listening in on my friend who works at the till.
Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to Cat Feline.
Oh my god. Okay, go stop. Fila Day.
I've seen that movie. It's horrible.
Try it again.
Fila Day. Would you like a table for...
I heard her suddenly stall for a second. I perked up my cat ears, intrigued. I heard her cough weakly before repeating herself, albeit shakier than before.
Table for 2, then?
What's up with her?
I thought to myself, putting the last plate on the drying rack, still trying to listening in on what was happening out there.
That would be great, thanks.
This is so good.
Masculine voice chime out. A tiny spark lit up my brain as I heard him. I swore I recognized it from somewhere, but I just couldn't put my finger on it. Listening in harder, I heard the waitress shuffle over while the other workers just stood and whispered. Something was definitely up. I tried to be professional and just waited for the customer's order. A few minutes passed and a soft knock on the kitchen counter brought me out of my daze. The waitress smiled and clipped the order on the railing. The waitress is your friend.
2 seared cod, 1 curly fries, and 1 chunky fries to table 2, please.
A smile spread across my face as I heard the order. Not many people actually order meals from this cafe, mainly because they come here expecting snacks or sweets. I call this place a restaurant if it weren't so small. I washed my hands one more time and got to work.
Chunky fries actually sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I would eat chunky fries, I'm not gonna lie. 20 or so minutes later, I placed the 2 cod on top of a pea puree and dolloped some homemade tartar sauce on the side, before finally shoveling the curly fries and chips into separate bowls. With a quick ding on the bell, the waitress swiftly went through the door and picked up the dishes, neatly resting them in both arms. Looking up at me, a grin spread widely across her face.
You won't believe who's here.
She whispered excitedly. I tilted my head in confusion and furrowed my brow. She giggled and shook her head.
Just wait.
And with that, she practically bounced out the door. I tried peering down the slight gap she'd left, but I didn't manage to get a good look before the door eventually closed. Going back to cleaning up my mess, I couldn't help but wonder who was eating my food. Pointing my ears back towards the door, I tried my best to listen in. I scrunched up my face in hopes it would make me concentrate more, and like magic, I started hearing muffled voices. There was a man and what sounds like a young girl.
Oh, fucking hell.
I finally heard. My heart sank and my ears dropped.
Did I do something wrong?
My thoughts became fuzzy, and I awaited for the waitress to come back in with barely eaten plates and later on be given my week's notice. Minutes passed and the waitress didn't come. I could hear my heart thump aggressively in my cute little neko ears until I was jolted back to reality by the door creaking open.
Right. Who cooked this fish?
I heard the same male voice from before. I winced and slowly turned around, putting up my hand weakly.
I did, sir.
I looked up and my jaw dropped in both awe and fear. Gordon Ramsay? There stood the man, the myth, the absolute mad lad legend, Gordon Ramsay. Time seemingly stopped as I took in my surroundings. Gordon Ramsay was stood in my workplace, a tiny little cat cafe. Doesn't even have a 1 Michelin star. Like he says, like every place has 1 Michelin star. Come on.
Right.
He looked just like he does on TV. He was tall, chunky, and his blonde hair
What?
on his forehead. Yep, that's Gordon Ramsay, all right. Chunky. I've never heard Gordon described as chunky.
I mean, his
Well, that's
face
what-
kind of looks like chunky peanut butter.
No, that's what happens when you eat the chonky fries. They make you chunk.
Obviously.
What an absolute chunk.
Oh. Stared at my gaped mouth for a couple seconds before finally making eye contact. My heart pounded uncomfortably hard as I awaited his criticism.
That was fucking delicious.
He beamed. It felt like my heart burst out of my chest in sudden realization that I wasn't being berated.
Pardon?
Was all I could muster.
That cod was cooked and seasoned perfectly. Where did you learn to cook like that?
He took a step closer and placed his empty plate on the steel counter. I looked around in panic in case this was just an elaborate prank. It was just us in the kitchen. I coughed awkwardly and tried my best to remain eye contact as I replied,
Nowhere, sir. Woo.
His eyebrows rose in shock, and he scratched his chin in thought.
Really? Nowhere. How long have you been cooking then?
He asked with genuine curiosity. I blushed deeply at the sudden thought of mine. Mustering up the courage, I spoke once more.
Maybe a few years now. You know, gotta eat right.
Paused for a second, looked at my feet, all embarrassed and stuff.
Ooh. I actually learned most of my techniques from your shows.
He gave off a small chuckle and ran a hand through his hair.
I'm flattered there. You're really talented for someone who's only been cooking a couple of years. I might have to keep my eye on you.
You got so cocky.
Yes. I'm mixing
You went
it up here.
Australian at the end there.
He gave me a wink and blushed, squinting my face shyly.
Thank you, sir.
I managed to whisper out, I hate it so much, priest. He laughed again and raised a hand and slapped me hard across the face.
Holy shit, you're right. I love how that one section has 23 fucking comments. 20, occasional 2, 1 comment, 3 comment, 23 fucking comments on that one section.
This one sentence!
Please, call me Gordon.
Pulling my head apologetically and repeating myself.
Thank you, Gordon.
I glanced up and made eye contact with him one more time before reaching over to grab his plate and going to wash it up. I flattened my ears under the bandana I had to keep my hair out of my face, scrunching up my nose while in deep thought. I looked behind me. He was still watching. I hummed uncomfortably before finally chiming in.
So, what are you doing here? I mean, what brought you here? Not that I don't want you here, it's just, you know, this is a cat cafe and not a 5-star restaurant.
After that horrible speech, I did too. To my dismay, I heard a light chuckle coming from him once again. I blushed, embarrassed.
Me daughter's cat got run over, so daughter's cat got run over, so I decided to take her here to feel better.
Much better!
Said nonchalantly. My eyes widened in shock.
He sure is blunt. You've got so many. Go.
What was that?
You've got so many chapters of this.
I know we do. This is the longest chapter, I think. So there you go. Where was I? I lost track. Oh, discreetly looking through the window to the cat cafe area, I saw a fairly grown-up girl, maybe 16, 17, playing with Tilly. I smiled a little as Tilly wrapped her tail around the girl's arm. That meant she likes her. That's not what cats do. Ah, that's your turn.
Oh, you not like cats or something? You don't seem very heartbroken.
I asked without a thought, completely forgetting I was talking to Gordon. As a cat girl, I get a little defensive when I think someone doesn't like cats, because what if they don't like me? I looked up finally in shock at what I'd said. Gordon looked taken aback by my words, but quickly went back to his usual smile frown.
Yeah, and never been a big cat person myself, but Matilda over there was really worked up. Might as well try to make her happy, right? That's what matters.
Softened, and a smile grazed onto my lips.
How sweet. Is that why you're still in here, Yen?
I asked finally. Again, he laughed, and then stared at me, not breaking eye contact.
You intrigue me, Beyblade. Right.
Let it rip.
Oh my fucking Lord. Oh God, sorry. He smirked it. He smirked.
What the fuck?
I don't know what a smirk is. He smirked as he looked at my name tag like he was slick. I got flutterbies in my tummy when he said my name.
Is that all?
I asked, kind of wishing he would leave at this point so he wouldn't see my beet red face. But deep down, I knew I wanted him to stay. I mean, it's Gordon fucking Ramsay. He was my biggest inspiration, for crying out loud. After monologuing in my head about my cooking journey, I turned to see him standing only a few feet away from me. I cowered in fear of this old-ass, wrinkly, intimidatingly handsome man stood so close. I could feel his breath on my face. He smelled like fish, but I liked that because I'm a neko.
I'll be back.
He whispered in my ear. I fumbled and tumbled and blushed.
Woo.
Patted my head and swiftly left as quickly as he had entered. Luckily, I don't think he felt my ears under the bandana. I stood there, dumbfounded. I shitted and farted.
Shit.
I shitted and farted. Okay, we might not do all of this today. We might save some of this for next time, but I definitely want to do one more chapter. For sure.
This cooking was so hard. Cooking was so hard.
And farted!
It's okay, Beyblade. We all get stressed in the kitchen. Me first time in my restaurant, I shitted and pissed it a little bit in my diapers, in me nappies.
I just want someone to make fan art of Gordon Ramsay doing like the Cockney crouch over the little Beyblade arena thing.
Right, what's all this then?
Oh, okay. Let's do another chapter. Can we do it, boys?
What the fuck is this picture?
Show the picture.
It's our protagonist Beyblade.
This is our protagonist Beyblade, everyone.
And Gordon Ramsay right next to him.
Nope. Yeah, just that. That's that. Okay. Oh, here we go.
Shit.
Shitted and farted. Yep, that's what we did. All right. Chapter 2, A Proposition. It had been a month or two after my interaction with Gordon Ramsay. Everything was running like normal. People would come in, buy a baked good, pet some cats, and then leave. A little part of me hoped he would come back, like he said he would do. But also, a little part of me got weirded out by him being so close. Like, damn, dude, please respect my boundaries. Haha, funny. I was whipping up a large batch of macaroons when I heard a knock on the kitchen door. I froze. Oh God, please no.
Anyone home?
I heard the same British voice echo through the practically empty kitchen. I froze and turned to see Gordon Ramsay standing by the doorway. I almost jumped out of my skin as I finally realized that Gordon Ramsay is here again. It wasn't just a hallucination from the mushrooms I was high on.
Ramsay!
I stuttered, clutching onto my tea towel like I was going to smack him with it if he got any closer.
Yep, that's still my name.
What was that voice?
I don't know, man. I'm improvising here.
Okay. He laughed, crossing his beefy arms. He took a step closer and continued talking.
I just couldn't get you out of me head. You have potential. I just can't let some other chef snatch you away. Hello there.
He stared into my soul, and I don't know how to make that noise. That's just... Sure, thanks, guys. I blushed and wiped the sweat off my forehead.
Gosh, golly, sir, I don't know what to say. I can't possibly work for you. I don't even know how to cook lobster.
I whined in panic. He stood in silence for a second, perhaps deep in thought.
Then I'll teach you!
He finally spoke up. My eyes shot open and my mouth fell agape.
What?
I asked in disbelief.
I'll teach you all me recipes, if you're okay with quitting your job here, of course. I'll need your full attention for this.
He was being serious?
That's your line.
I don't know what to say.
I said honestly, my face redder than raw beef. Gordon looked down and chuckled.
No one has ever said no to me.
Herk! He looked up, staring me in the face again.
Think about it, okay? Don't think you'd want to pass up on an opportunity to learn from me. Here's me number. Call me if you come up with a decision.
By the way, if you want to try something for Ramsay, he was technically born in Scotland. If you want to go all
Scotland
like
forever,
Stella, if you want to go all Stella on him, you're welcome to.
Right.
That's very no. Okay.
I know.
He handed me a tiny card with a phone number on it. Huh. He must do this a lot to make his own business cards just for his personal number. Like, no, that's just how you do business cards. He gave me a wink and walked to the out the door. I stared at the card for a long while. Quit my job? But how would I pay for my tuition? Would Gordon even let me continue my uni course? Oh, gosh.
I'm in a real pickle now.
After work, I went back to my teeny little apartment.
Ooh.
I flopped onto my bed and sighed, feeling around in my pocket. I brought out Ramsay's card, staring intently at his number.
This could be a huge mistake.
I thought to myself, but after taking a look around my room, my tiny, depressingly empty room, I closed my eyes.
But this could change my life forever.
I covered my face with my hands and mentally screamed. Gordon Ramsay wants to teach me how to cook. I don't think anyone would pass up an opportunity like that. I thought back to my orphan days, how I would help cook for all the kids. I'm sure if they saw me now, they would be begging me to phone Gordon. Lol, I'm orphaned, by the way, because I need a troubled past for you to like me.
That's how they do it.
I'm going to do it. I slowly inputted the numbers into my phone. My breathing became rapid. My palms started to sweat from the fear of royally fucking up my life. With one last push of a button, I heard the phone dial. After a few nauseating seconds, someone picked up.
Hello?
Ramsay, is that you? I'd like to take you up on that offer.
Ah, Beyblade. Excellent. I'll come to your place tomorrow. I expect your bags to be packed.
I gulped, my mind racing in confusion and panic.
Bags? Why? Where am I going?
I heard Gordon laugh through the phone.
I'm not letting you live in that crappy little apartment. You're staying with me.
Crappy little apartment? How do you know where I live?
Oh, Beyblade. So naive. Bags packed by 8 a.m., all right?
His voice was stern, with a slight hint of humor on the last part. He hung up the phone without giving me a chance to protest. I could hardly breath. What was happening right now? Am I really going to live with someone who presumably is a stalker after what he just said? Oh, of course I am.
Ooh.
I took off my hat and sighed, itching my neko ear and thought. Itching or petting my ears always seemed to calm me down. I guess it's just instinct. Like the cat part of me is thinking I'm being groomed or some scientist shit like that. I almost hit my head on the shelf above me when I heard a knock at the door. I'm sure that isn't Gordon. I slowly strolled to the door, hesitating on turning the handle until I heard a calming voice on the other end. That's you, Milk. Pay attention. I told you got to pay attention if you got a small card.
Beyblade, you in there?
I sighed in relief and quickly opened the door to see my best friend Raymond on the other side.
Oh, I'm so glad to see you.
I half sighed, half laughed. He tilted his weird tic-tac head.
Oh, really? Why? What happened?
He asked, concerned, but still fashioning himself with a dashing smile. I motioned him to come in, and he immediately took a seat on my bed, patting a seat next to him. I smirked at him and sat at the edge of the thankfully tucked bed.
I'll just get right to the juicy stuff.
I began, warranting a confused grin from Raymond.
I have to move out, quit my job, and possibly drop out of university. All because famous TV chef Gordon Ramsay, says he was going to teach me how to cook.
I laughed shakily, still in disbelief that all this was happening.
Gordon? Gordon Ramsay?
I suppose there's no other to too. Oh, God. Oh. Raymond stuttered out, his Scottish accent getting more intense the more he speaks. Fucking Christ. I shrugged in defeat.
Yup. Shit's crazy, man.
I laughed weakly, my tiredness finally showing. He gasped and tutted a finger at me.
Language, young lady. Oh, don't make me send you to the naughty corner.
I shoved him playfully and scrunched up my face from secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah, whatever. Sorry, Mr. Raymond.
I teased. We sat there a while longer in silence, just taking in our surroundings.
Is this goodbye, then?
Raymond finally spoke up. I gave a small, confused chuckle.
You don't have to leave if you don't want to. You can stay a while longer. I'll even cook dinner.
So painful. He shook his head and wrapped an arm around my shoulder, giving it a dismissive pat.
You know what I mean, lassie. You're going to... I can't even do this. You're going to learn from some big shot chef. Do you really think you're going to come back to live in this hellhole? Do you think you're going to come back to someone like me?
He asked shakily, looking me right in the eyeballs. I stuttered, baffled at what to say.
Raymond, don't say stuff like that. You know I'll always be your friend.
I grabbed his hand and squeezed it passionately.
Ooh, I still don't know if I'm even going through with this. I mean, he's just teaching me how to cook. It doesn't mean I'm going places.
He looked down at my hand and scowled, averting my gaze. I shook my head in frustration and wrapped him in a tight hug.
I'll call you every day, okay? This is not a goodbye.
I held back. He sniffled as he hugged me back.
I'll hold you to that.
He finally said in his usual cheeky lad manner. I took a deep breath, taking the smell of the cheap cologne. My limbs relaxed as I felt his heart beat against my chest. It was gentle and calming.
And so I heard you talking about dinner earlier?
Oh, yeah. God damn it. He mumbled. I could feel him grinning against my shoulder.
Oh, you did, huh? Well, let me see what I can do about that.
I giggles.
You will.
I got up and opened the fridge next to my bed. My apartment is basically a one room for showering and one room for cooking, and the kitchen just so happens to have a bed in it. My ears drooped. Other than a couple of lemons, the fridge was completely empty.
Well, at least I won't have to throw away any food. Sorry, Raymond, but you're going to have to go knock on someone else's door for a snack.
I laughed meekly. Raymond peeked around my shoulder and huffed.
I could always go back to my place and whip up some classic cheese toasties. Think of it as you're going away present.
Cheese toasties.
Cheese toasties is a thing in England. Look it up. He paused and laughed at his own pending joke.
Who knows how long it'll be till you eat up proper food again?
Till you eat up proper food, sorry. I laughed and brushed a strand of hair out of my face.
That would be lovely. Thank you.
He gave me a nod and set off down the hall. I sat on my bed and waited as he made some cheese toasties. I could smell the sweet aroma of melting cheese and butter. I may not be living in luxury, but there was something about this place that made me feel like everything was going to be okay. My eyes shut open suddenly as I heard the loud cracking of an old fire alarm going off. I leapt out of bed and ran towards Raymond's apartment.
Raymond, everything all right?
I yelled in panic as I burst open the door. I tilted my head as I watched Raymond flailing a tea towel at his smoke alarm. He looked at me with a red face.
I guess there was some leftover cheese in the toasty press. And from the last time I got it a little smoky in here.
Toasty press!
Toasty press.
In the toasty press.
He managed to say through muddled breaths of cheesy air.
Is that your fetish pencil?
This
He managed
wasn't
to say
really.
through muddled breaths of cheesy air.
This wasn't really how I imagined our last snack together that would go.
He laughed all embarrassed and stuff.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
I giggled softly, running a tired hand through my
Green!
hair. We sat down and ate our toasties. I bit into mine and let out an admittedly loud moan. Come on, Priest.
Ah!
I love it. Raymond's cheese toasties are heaven.
Perfect, as always.
I praised as I continued to munch down on my cheesy snack. He gave me a thankful nod since his mouth was full and leaned back into his chair. Raymond's apartment was fairly larger than mine. It's still probably considered quite too small by most people, but at least he had two bedrooms and a living room. Must be hard since he has a kid and all.
Where's Lisa, by the way?
I asked, trying to make small talk as we finished our meals.
She's in bed, of course. It is midnight after all.
He said, checking his watch. My ears dropped in panic.
Midnight? Oh gosh, I haven't even finished packing.
I whispered, clutching my forehead. I looked at Raymond with eyes that said, "You know I have to go, right?" And he gave a small understanding nod, raising a hand to show me the door.
I'll walk with you to your door if you'd like. I hear there's been another missing person case recently. Poor girl didn't even have any family. It was her boss that called to say she hadn't come in for weeks.
He mourned, getting up and following me out of the apartment. His eyes widened from that story.
That's awful, Raymond.
I whined in pity of the girl.
I'm sure
Yeah.
I'm sure she and the rest of them will show up soon enough. Maybe they've all gone to Hawaii to live out their lives, sipping cocktails and dancing with leaf skirts.
He joked. I pushed him, giving a light chuckle.
I don't think life works like that, but he's a nice thought.
He walked in almost silence after that. My apartment wasn't that far after all. Finally getting to my place, I gave Raymond a quick hug before I opened the door and slowly slunk away, giving one last glance at Raymond, who was now leaning on the hallway wall.
I'll be looking forward to your calls,
he said with a smirk. I laughed quietly. Looking up at Raymond, smiling, I said finally,
I'll miss you, Raymond.
As I entered, I immediately passed out of my bed. After locking up my door, of course. I'm sure I was meant to do something before sleeping, but at the time, nothing else mattered. I didn't dream at all that night. It must have been from the exhaustion and stress in my life is hard.
Woo-woo.
Tomorrow is going to be a mess. And that's the next chapter. Do you want to give this one more chapter tonight or move on?
I think this can be continued on the next Shitfaced Shitfics.
Do you want to look at the next picture, though, for everyone's sake?
Oh God, let me see this.
Oh God.
Oh, wow. Oh,
It looks like Gordon Ramsay if he played Elf.
That's kind of the idea.
Oh my God. It's fucking his face photoshopped on a Buddy the Elf. Oh God.
Yes, it is. Are you okay?
It's so good. Ooh.
Ooh, well.
Cheese.
Toasty.
Well, so you guys want to move on to the next story? We have, I believe, 2 more to go for today. So I'm happy to move on to the next one, and we'll save more Gordon Ramsay for next time.
My body is ready.
You guys up for that?
Yes.
Like literally, Rav, your part is in the next one. So.
You're right.
All right. Coolio, in that case, what do you guys think of the Gordon Ramsay story?
I'm calling it here. Raymond is kidnapping girls.
Oh.
Oh, whoa.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Okay, that's enough of fucking that. Let's go.
Hey, my pencil. We're having so much fun.
Oh, stop.
Welcome to the Uwu Cast.
Okay, let's move on to the story on the list for today.
Let it whip.
Stop.
Wait, let it whip. Wait, another battle.